سعد الدين الحريري رئيسا لمجلس الوزراء.
Good afternoon. You're watching the English newscast on Future Television. I'm Yumna Naufal, and these are today's top stories. President Michel Aoun chairs the first cabinet session of his term at the Babda Palace. The last residents hoping to leave rebel-held Aleppo wait in the snow as delays hit an evacuation that will leave Syria's army in full control of the city. And German police launch a manhunt for a Tunisian suspected of driving the truck that plowed through a Berlin Christmas market. A member of the extremist group of the so-called Asbat al-Ansa was shot dead in Saida earlier this morning at the Palestinian refugee camp of Ain al-Hilwe, while another man was reported injured but later succumbed to his wounds. At the junction of the vegetable market in Ain al-Hilwe, unknown gunmen opened fire at Samir Hmed, also known as Samir Nijmi, and Palestinian Abd Saleh, killing the first one instantly and wounding the other. Media reports later said that Saleh had succumbed to his wounds. National news agency said that another Palestinian woman, Alia Hourani, was injured in the shooting and was transported to the hospital. Tensions soared in the camp after the incident, where schools, shops, and UNRWA institutions shut down. National Palestinian and Islamic factions in the camp held an urgent meeting to dwell on the security condition following the assassination of Hmayed. President Michel Aoun is chairing the first cabinet session of his term at the Babda Palace. The session began earlier this morning with Aoun, Speaker Nabih Berri, Prime Minister Saad Hariri, and the 29 ministers standing together at the Babda Palace for the protocol photo, memorizing the formation of the country's new National Accord cabinet. The cabinet had only one item on its agenda: to form a ministerial committee tasked with drafting the government's policy statement. The committee it selected is made up of PM Hariri and ministers Mohammed Fnesh, Ali Hassan Khalil, Salim Jraisati, Marwan Ahmedi, Youssef Finyanous, and Pierre Abu Asi. Hariri stressed the necessity to cooperate during the session as the country is beset by great challenges, while Aoun said that the government's priority was to agree on an electoral law and to approve a state budget. The last residents hoping to leave rebel-held Aleppo waited in the snow as a delay hit an evacuation that will leave Syria's army in full control of the devastated city. Heavy snow was blanketing the city and swirling through crumbled buildings, adding to the misery of thousands still inside the last pocket of what was once a crucial stronghold of Syrian rebel forces. Workers in the red uniforms of the Syrian Red Crescent, which has been helping with the evacuations, huddled by the side of the road, their white ambulances parked nearby, barely visible in the snow. At least 25,000 people have left rebel districts of Aleppo since opposition fighters agreed last week to withdraw from the city after years of fighting. 3 Turkish soldiers were killed and 11 wounded in clashes with ISIS in Syria as the military faces increasing resistance from the extremists in a battle to retake the town. The ISIS-held town of Al-Bab, 25 kilometers from the Turkish border, has become the main target of the army's more than 3-month campaign inside Syria in support of pro-Ankara Syrian rebels. One of the wounded was in a serious condition. It said the deaths came in clashes with ISIS jihadists, which were ongoing. The Amaq news agency affiliated to ISIS said the suicide attack was carried out against the Syrian rebels and Turkish troops west of Al-Bab without giving further details. Coming up next, more world headlines when we return. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. German police launched a manhunt for a Tunisian suspected of driving the truck that plowed through a Berlin Christmas market in a deadly assault claimed by the Islamic State jihadist group. Media reports say asylum office papers believed to belong to the man were found in the cab of the 40-ton lorry used in the attack that killed 12. The man is in his early 20s, known by 3 different names, and was born in the southern city of Tatooine. He applied for asylum in Germany in April and received a temporary residence permit. A previous suspect, a 23-year-old Pakistani asylum seeker, was released late on Tuesday for lack of evidence, prompting fears of a killer on the loose and further rattling nerves in a shocked country. 12 people were killed when the Polish registered articulated truck laden with steel beams slammed into the crowd holiday market late on Monday, smashing wooden stalls and crushing victims. Donald Trump pounced on a reported comment from Bill Clinton, the former president and husband of his Democratic rival in the November 8 election, in an unusual exchange between future and former U.S. presidents. Clinton, whose wife Hillary lost last month's election after spending millions of dollars more than her Republican rival, was spotted at a bookstore near the couple's hometown of New York City earlier this month. One person asked him, "Is Trump smart?" According to the editor of the local newspaper, Clinton also said he had received a telephone call from Trump the day after the election. The report of the impromptu question and answer session was widely picked up on. Trump waited until this morning to hit back. The U.S. State Department is defending new sanctions on Russia, saying they were prompted by Moscow's actions in Ukraine. U.S. State Department spokesman John Kirby said the U.S. is deeply concerned by the continued conflict in eastern Ukraine between government forces and Russian separatists.
Is deeply concerned with the recent spike of violence in eastern Ukraine. Over just the last 2 days, 6 Ukrainian service members have been killed and 33 wounded in a Russian separatist attempt to seize additional Ukrainian territory, the highest 2-day casualty figure that we've seen since June of 2015. This is a clear violation of Russia's commitments under the Minsk agreements. And once again, we call on Russia to exercise its considerable influence over the separatists to put a stop to the violence and to allow OSCE monitors full and unfettered access. This decision by the Treasury Department had nothing to do with the time on the clock. It had everything to do with Russia's activities and support for the separatists in Ukraine and for their occupation of Crimea. That's what it had to do with. It had to do with Russia's actions. It had to do with holding Russia accountable for its violation of Ukrainian territorial integrity and sovereignty. That's what it had to do with. It had nothing to do with the next administration will obviously have to make their own decisions about this. We hope that they will come to see the wisdom in not conducting business as usual with Russia, given their continued activities. As I said, just in my opening statement, the recent violence here in eastern Ukraine just over the last couple of days. We would hope that they would see the wisdom in keeping these sanctions and this pressure on Russia, because we have seen it have an effect.
Hollywood actor Denzel Washington is excited, not so much because he is an Oscar frontrunner, but for his role in Fences, but because bringing the award-winning stage play about blue-collar African Americans to the big screen has been a long-held dream. Pulitzer Prize-winning Fences, which opens in the U.S. in all theaters on December 25th, is the first play by the late influential black playwright August Wilson to be turned into a film. Washington and Viola Davis reprised their 2010 Tony-winning roles as egotistical garbage worker Troy Maxson and his long-suffering wife Rose in the intense family drama about loss, hope, betrayal, and race prejudice in the 1950s America.
Hey, but 2 men ever played baseball good as you. And what did it ever get me? I ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of.
Hey, Pop, can I ask you a question? How come you ain't never liked me?
What law is there say I got to like you? A man is supposed to take care of his family. You live in my house, fill your belly with my food, put your behind on my bed because you're my son. Now don't you go through life worrying about whether somebody like you or not. You best be making sure they're doing right by you.
We taped out the whole set in a big gymnasium. Now at first Michael T kept turning. I said, wait, keep turning. He was still doing the play. So I would have Charlotta or then sometimes me stand where the camera would be to gently start to make people realize, okay, if the two of you and I are talking, you don't have to talk like this because I'll be over there. So let's say if it was Michael T and I'm Michael T and you're Troy, I would have Charlotta stand over there in rehearsal, and now he knows.
I looked at here, looked at there, saw Rose, and I latched on to her. I latched on to her and I told her, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I latched on to her and told her, baby, I don't want to marry. I just want to be your man. Rose told me, tell him what you told me, Rose.
I told him if he wasn't a mankind, and move out the way so the mankind could find me.
That's what she told me. You're in my way, you're blocking the view, move out the way so I can find me a husband.
It's very challenging. Every day was an acting Olympics. Every day, 33 pages, 11 pages, 22 pages, 4-page scene, which, has a monologue. I try not to say the word monologue, but 4-page monologue. I mean, that was every day. There was no scene where you just walked in and put down a pot.
Come here, boy, when I talk to you. Straighten up, damn it. I asked you a question. What law is there say I got to like you?
None.
All right, then. Don't you eat every day? Answer me when I talk to you. Don't you eat every day?
Yeah.
As long as you in my house, you put a sir on the end of it when you talk to me.
Yes, sir.
You eat every day.
Yes, sir.
Got a roof over your head.
Yes, sir.
Got clothes on your back.
Yes, sir.
Why you think that is?
Because of you?
Hell, I know it's because of me.
I was wise enough, smart enough to use those great actors that did the play. Viola, Stephen Henderson, Michael T. Williamson, Russell Hornsby. And it's just a process. You like I said, it's just one day at a time. It's not 1,000 problems, it's 1,000 opportunities a day.
Well, first I do this one, and then I look inside and look at the top of it. That's what we for his face. We got a couple of lower looks.
Everything that boy do, he do for you.
It's not easy for me to admit that I've been standing in the same place for 18 years.
Well, I've been standing with you. I got a life too. Don't you think I had dreams and hopes? What about my life? What about me? What are you gonna do?
Some people build fences to keep people out, and other people build fences to keep people in.
Comes out Christmas Day this year. And on that note, we end our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our headlines. President Michel Aoun chairs the first cabinet session of his term at the Babda Palace. The last residents hoping to leave rebel-held Aleppo wait in the snow as delays hit an evacuation that will leave Syria's army in full control of the city. And German police launch a manhunt for a Tunisian suspected of driving the truck that plowed through a Berlin Christmas market in a deadly assault claimed by ISIS. Those are your Wednesday headlines live on Future Television. Catch us again tomorrow for all the latest. I'm Yumna Nova signing off. Take care.
سعد الدين الحريري رئيسا لمجلس الوزراء.